The afterlife has always been a mystery, but it seems cameras have captured something beyond. Corpses coming back to life, coffins that move, and shadows that whisper in the dark. These videos show that a journey doesn't always end where we think it does. Let's begin the horrific compilation. Sudden movement from the demised has long been considered a bad omen. At one funeral, such a moment was caught on video. The family stood around the open casket when a woman reached to touch the body. Right then, the deceased suddenly sat upright. The crowd gasped, backing away in shock, unsure if what they saw was real. Seconds later, the figure fell back into the coffin, lying still again. For those who saw it with their own eyes, it felt far from natural. To them, it was a sign the spirit was not ready to rest. Morgue movement. Here is another video from the Philippines. A morgue security camera captured something deeply unsettling. The footage showed a man lying still on a stretcher, his body completely motionless. Suddenly, his upper body moved slightly. At first, it looked like a trick of the camera, but then one foot began moving continuously, as if trying to step out. Moments later, his entire body jerked unnaturally, giving the impression of someone waking up. The clip abruptly ended, leaving viewers with no certain explanation. Doctors said it could be a muscle reflex after passing, while viewers were convinced the man was coming back to life. Shadow escape. For centuries, cultures around the world have described out-of-body experiences, moments when the soul drifts away while the body lies still. A factory worker resting outside learned just how real that can look on camera. As he slept, a shadow-like figure lifted from his chest, hovered above him, then slipped back inside as his body jolted. Doctors would dismiss it as sleep paralysis, but it looked more than that. Was this man's shadow just a dream playing tricks, or did he brush the edge of life itself? The answer is still unknown. Moving mystery. Funeral homes are supposed to be quiet, but one in Arizona recorded something that left even the staff unsettled. Many coffins stood still in the room, except for one. The surveillance footage showed it slowly slid away from its place, as if pushed by invisible hands. No one was inside the hall, and there were no strings or wires caught by the camera. Workers who saw the tape believed it was more than a glitch. Spirits sometimes resist resting, even after burial. They believed it was a sign to look closer inside. But whatever it was, the coffin kept moving on its own. Coffin entity. During a funeral, the family gathered around a coffin, saying their last goodbyes. Everything seemed normal until a child noticed something strange. On the coffin's surface, a thin, thread-like figure was wriggling. He tried to pull it, but the thing slipped back inside instantly. Strangely, no one else saw it. Only the boy and the camera captured this moment. People later argued whether it was a thread, an insect, or something less natural. But children are said to see what adults cannot. Maybe that's why only he could witness what was really hiding in the coffin. What do you say? Comment below. Hair mystery. It started like any other late-night adventure, just a group of friends daring each other to explore a graveyard. But as they moved deeper, one grave seemed different. Their flashlight caught what looked like strands of black hair on the surface, slipping out from inside the grave. As they went near, the hair slowly slipped back in, disappearing completely. They were terrified, but before running, they noticed an empty grave nearby. They didn't wait to check further, believing they had just witnessed something trying to crawl out, not rest within. Was it a prank, or something creepy coming out? Comment below. Soul on camera. In 2017, a hospital CCTV captured footage that left everyone speechless. A body lay still on a stretcher when, suddenly, a mist-like figure rose from it. The smoky shape drifted upwards before vanishing into the air. Online viewers believe this was proof of a soul leaving the body, caught on camera. Others dismissed it as lightning or a camera glitch. But for those who saw it, the video felt too real, almost like a moment we were never meant to witness. Mysterious hospital. In Tirana, something strange caught his attention. One of the mattresses in the COVID ward began shifting, as if someone invisible was lying on it. But the bed was completely empty. It seemed like a restless soul that never left its last bed. Skeptics said it might be air pressure beneath the mattress, but those who've worked in hospitals know that these kinds of incidents can't be explained. Waving departure. In a church in Indonesia, a funeral was taking place in 2023. Everything was calm until someone noticed movement in the coffin. The body inside, wrapped and still, lifted one hand and waved. At first, people thought it was their eyes playing tricks, but the video showed the hand clearly rising in a wave-like motion. Some said it was a final goodbye. The soul hadn't fully left yet. Scientists explained it as gases moving through muscles. Despite this logical explanation, for those present, it felt like a chilling message from the one who had just departed. Pushed below. Stories of unseen hands pulling the living into the earth are centuries old. One recent burial gave chilling weight to those tales. As a man leaned forward to place a cross on a coffin, he slipped straight into the open grave. People blamed wet mud, but slowed footage showed something stranger, a hand-like shape pushing him from the mud. Take a look. Locals said graves sometimes reject intruders. Experts might call it shadows or camera distortion, but for those who believe, it was proof that the grave was already claimed, and the unseen occupant wasn't ready to share. Strange incidents. Late at night in a California hospital morgue, eerie footage was captured. A man who had passed away was lying on a stretcher when, suddenly, his upper body moved as if trying to sit. Later that same night, security cameras in the ward recorded a smoky, human-like figure drifting across the room. Many believe the two incidents were connected, and his soul was wandering the halls before fading away. For skeptics, it may be nerves twitching and smoke distortion, but for believers, it was a rare glimpse of the body and spirit parting ways. Miracle. Africa is famous for its strange rituals. Some are too mysterious for outsiders to understand. At a funeral, a man performed what looked like an unusual ritual. He was holding the lower body of the deceased, and as he pressed it suddenly, the body jolted upright, eyes wide open, as if returning to life. The people around were so excited, calling it a miracle. Skeptics said it was staged, a performance designed to shock. But ancient stories tell of rituals that could reawaken the soul, even if only briefly. Watching this, the question remains, was it a trick, or did they witness the impossible becoming real? Haunting grave. In Idaho in 2024, a man visiting his late wife's grave recorded something chilling. He heard someone crying from underground. At first, he thought it was the wind, but the sound became clearer. It was coming from one of the graves. Listen closely. He looked into the grave from a narrow opening, but saw no one. The man could not make any sense of it and posted the clip online. Paranormal enthusiasts said that graves hold the voices of restless souls, those unwilling to move on. It was believed that the man's grief led him to hear those cries. After this incident, he never went to the graveyard again. Moving eyes. As friends gathered to say goodbye, one person noticed the deceased man's eyelids slowly opening. For a few seconds, his eyes were open, then they gently closed again. Online viewers gave a logical explanation for it, calling it a natural reflex movement after demise. But the man's family believed that his soul was showing a final sign to them and those who gathered for him. There have been stories of people making one last gesture before moving to the other world. Was this one of them? Eerie stranger.
That's the lady I saw. It's an old lady.
One man entered an abandoned graveyard after hearing rumors of curses tied to it. As he walked through, he noticed a strange figure sitting on a bench. The man appeared to whisper words in an unknown language. When the explorer tried to speak, the figure only stared back in silence.
Ma'am, do you need help?
Terrified, he fled. Villagers believed he might have interrupted a ritual, possibly dark magic linked to the graves. They claim to have seen disturbing lone figures in the cemetery before. Watching this clip, it's hard not to agree. Crying soul.
You alright? You okay?
This man, walking past a burial ground in Idaho, heard the sound of a woman crying. Concerned, he followed the voice, calling out to ask if anyone needed help.
You okay?
The sound led him to an abandoned car, damaged and left behind. But no one was there. He searched around, but the voice was gone. Later, he uploaded the video online, calling it The Crying Ghost. Some linked it to mysterious stories of car incidents near this burial site, where grieving souls linger. Whether real or not, the chilling voice still haunts the man. Mysterious incident. Chilling CCTV footage emerged from inside a morgue in Russia. A man was lying completely still under a white sheet, declared no longer alive. But moments later, his hand slowly lifted from beneath the cloth. He pulled the cloth from his face and began looking around the cold room in confusion. With great struggle, he stood up, gripping the stretcher for balance as if his legs could barely support him. The sight was both shocking and disturbing. What was thought to be his final rest turned into a desperate attempt to wake up. To this day, no one knows if it was survival or something unexplainable. Demonic ritual. In a cemetery in Colorado, a visitor captured something disturbing. Near a grave, a humanoid shape appeared, with its legs see-through, ears pointed, and horns curved upward. Its face couldn't be clearly seen in the darkness. The figure sat silently until a car passed nearby. Then it lifted its hands in strange motions, almost as if performing a ritual, before slowly fading away. For many, this was undeniable proof of a demonic presence. Such beings guard graveyards, feeding on energy from the gone. This sight left people scared of going to that cemetery at night. Unknown hand. Villagers reported hearing strange noises from their local cemetery in India. One night, a group went to investigate. What they saw terrified them. It was a dark-colored, inhuman hand that reached out of a grave. One man bravely pressed his palm over the opening while reciting holy verses, hoping to force it back down. Witnesses said the hand slowly retracted into the earth. It did not look human at all, but something darker, trying to come out. Since then, locals avoid the cemetery after sunset.
Ranger.
Unseen force. A group of friends in a cemetery decided to play a daring game. One of them was asked to lie inside an empty grave, just for laughs. But the joke didn't stay funny for long. As he lay there, something invisible tugged at his shirt, pulling him upward. Startled, he jumped out and ran. His friends caught the moment on camera. Folks said some graves are believed to be claimed, belonging to unseen forces that do not like being disturbed. For many, this was more than just a prank gone wrong. It was a warning. Church shadow. Churches are often seen as safe, sacred spaces, but some believe they're also where unseen forces linger the most. During a funeral in Nigeria, as a family member shared heartfelt words, the camera picked up something disturbing. A dark, humanoid shadow passed in front of her, its arms stretched wide as if embracing the living. The footage cut abruptly, leaving only guesses. Some claimed it was just lightning, but locals talked about the spirit collectors who appear at farewells. Perhaps that shadow wasn't random at all, but something arriving to claim what was already promised. Witch encounter. In New Mexico, a couple filmed their late-night exploration of a cemetery known for witchcraft rituals. There, they spotted a bent old woman with messy hair, pacing and muttering. The woman filming was brave and warned her to stay away, but the figure grew hostile, screaming in anger. Suddenly, she jumped toward the woman, and the footage cut off. No one knows what happened after. Locals claimed the area was once used for dark practices, and the witch might have been guarding her ground. To this day, people avoid that cemetery at night, fearing she still roams. Passing shadow. Family outings often bring unexpected moments, but this one turned eerie. While visiting an abandoned site, a family filmed themselves laughing and walking together. Yet behind them, something passed. A tall, dark, humanoid shape sliding across the frame. They noticed nothing in the moment, but on playback, the figure stood out clearly. Later, they found that the area had long been rumored to be haunted. Paranormal investigators said such shadows are residual spirits, replaying past movements again and again. Some even call them watchers, beings that linger around forgotten places. Mist of graveyard. In cemeteries, grief and the unknown often blend into something mysterious. Security footage from one graveyard captured such a moment. A man was visiting his late wife's resting place, weeping as he sat by her grave. At that exact time, another camera caught a mist-like shadow gliding across the area. Locals began saying that it wasn't just fog, it was her spirit returning to comfort him. Mists near graves have long been tied to the presence of souls. Science says it's condensation, but to those who saw the video, it felt like proof that love doesn't end with the body. Haunted cave. Caves have long been linked with myths of creatures dwelling below the earth. When explorers entered one such cave, they saw something that made those stories terrifyingly real. From a narrow crack, thin, twisted fingers stretched outward, as if reaching for them. They fled in panic, never waiting to see the full figure. Skeptics might call it an animal, but the movements were nothing natural. In ancient lore, caves were gates to the underworld. If that is true, perhaps those explorers weren't the first to see what lies beneath us. Ghosts of Gettysburg. A chilling clip from Pennsylvania showed something eerie on the Gettysburg battlefield at night. In 2023, a man was driving home with his family when he caught these ghostly figures. They were running across the road near the old cemetery. Gettysburg is often called one of the most haunted places in America, where over 50,000 soldiers and thousands of horses fell during the Civil War in 1863. Visitors have long reported hearing phantom footsteps, drums, and voices. This video only added to the belief that the field still holds remnants of that history, with restless souls replaying their final march. Haunting screams. In Idaho, a quiet cemetery became the center of fear for locals who kept reporting strange sounds echoing at night. Finally, 2 officers were sent to check. Their cameras show them calmly walking among the graves, but then a loud scream tore through the silence. Both cops got scared and ran out of the cemetery, abandoning their search. Some said it was the spirit of someone unwilling to rest, and others thought it was a warning for the officers to leave. Whatever it was, no one dared to go alone after dark anymore. Voices of Euphrates River. While digging near the Euphrates River, an archaeologist recorded something he couldn't explain. From deep in the mud, he heard strange noises, almost like chants. He wasn't alone in his fear. For centuries, ancient texts have described the Euphrates as a place tied to powerful entities. Some said to be bound beneath its waters until the end of days. The recording has led many to believe he didn't just capture sounds of nature, but the voices of beings that were never meant to be heard again. Shadow at Green Ridge. It was supposed to be a normal live broadcast from Green Ridge Cemetery in Saratoga County. Reporter Sam Hesler was covering twilight tours, speaking directly to the camera. But later, a viewer paused the video and noticed something chilling. A shadowy figure passed just behind her. It wasn't a trick of light. It had shape, movement, and seemed to pass deliberately through the graves. They called it a wandering spirit drawn to the attention of the cameras. And it was a clear sign that the cemetery really does come alive when night falls. Girl in white.
Yo, me and Eon seen this walking through the cemetery.
From his balcony in Arizona, a man captured something that still leaves people unsettled. A young girl, barefoot and dressed in white, was walking through the cemetery opposite his house. He and a friend shouted toward her, but she never looked, never spoke, just walked silently deeper inside. Then, all of a sudden, she vanished. There was no turn, no path, just gone. Locals said a girl with the same description once lived nearby, but was never laid to rest properly. Many believed her spirit still drifts, searching for something she never found in life.
Yo, she's not coming back. Nigga, she's gone. Where the did she go?
Turkeys at grave. In 2023, a strange video surfaced from a cemetery in Mexico. It showed 3 turkeys circling a single grave, as if drawn to something unseen. They kept at it for several minutes, then all stopped together, staring at the same spot. Just when viewers expected more, the video abruptly ended. Animals can sense what humans cannot, like spirits, energies, or disturbances in the ground. They might be doing some eerie ritual, or it may have been just instinctive behavior. But the way the birds moved in unison made viewers wonder if something hidden was truly there. Unknown figure. In Pakistan, a group of friends decided to test their courage by walking through a cemetery at midnight. At first, all they heard were strange noises in the distance, but the camera showed nothing unusual. Later, when they reviewed the footage, they froze. Behind one of the graves, a pale, hairless figure with glowing eyes was watching them. Paranormal experts analyzed the viral clip, some suggesting it could be the infamous rake, or even a skinwalker. Legends describe these beings as hunters of the night, feeding on fear. Whether myth or reality, the glowing eyes in the darkness looked terrifyingly real. Hospital shadows. Exploring abandoned places always comes with a strange energy. People say our instincts warn us when we're not alone, even if we see nothing. That's what happened during a night walk in an old hospital ruin. The man holding the camera suddenly felt something behind him and turned, finding only darkness. But when the footage was checked, things looked different. A thin figure drifted across the hallway where nobody stood. Paranormal researchers believe abandoned hospitals are hotspots for restless patients who never left. Could this shadow be one of them, still wandering the same halls long after time stopped? Share your opinions in the comments. Graveyard spook.
Allahu la ilaha illa illallah.
A young man often visited her mother's grave at night, seeking comfort. One night, he froze when 2 glowing eyes peeked at him from behind a headstone. The moment he tried to focus with a flashlight, the eyes vanished into the dark. He searched, but found nothing. Many believed glowing eyes in cemeteries are signs of cryptids hiding in the shadows. For him, it was a reminder that he might not have been alone in his grief. Ghost child. Illinois graveyards have long been tied to haunting tales. A ghost hunter entered a cemetery and was stunned when he saw a childlike figure walking between the graves. He chased after it, but it disappeared. Moments later, it reappeared with long hair covering its face before vanishing again. Locals told him about a girl who had mysteriously gone missing years ago, her body never found. Many now believe the child he saw was her wandering spirit, forever searching for peace. Coffin awakening. During a funeral in the Philippines, something unbelievable happened. A woman lay inside her coffin, but strangely with her eyes open. Her daughter rushed forward, lifted the lid, and placed the coffin on the floor. For a moment, the woman looked lifeless again, but as her daughter leaned closer, she suddenly sat upright, speaking in strange, incoherent words no one could understand. Moments later, she lay back as if nothing had happened. The video spread fast, with many convinced it was paranormal, until a commenter revealed it was Armin Salon, a TikTok creator known for dramatic, horror-style performances. Vanishing figure. In Chicago, a vlogger went live while exploring a cemetery at night. His viewers noticed something odd behind him, a tall figure in white, standing silently. At first, he thought it was another visitor, but when he tried to zoom in to see the figure clearly, suddenly, the figure was sitting on a rock nearby. The stream cut off immediately, and chillingly, the vlogger was never seen again. His audience started saying that he was lured by the spirit, but with no certain answer, his disappearance remained a mystery. Cemetery specter. In Tulcán, Argentina, residents were frightened by the sight of a strange woman near the local cemetery. She wore worn-out clothes, acted strangely, and made eerie noises. Police arrived to help, but when they approached, she knelt on the ground, then slowly walked away into the abandoned fields. For many, it looked like a ghostly specter wandering restlessly, but later, her family revealed she had escaped from an asylum, broken by grief after losing her son a year earlier. While it explained the mystery, many still believe the timing was no coincidence. Her sorrow may have drawn her to the cemetery. Woods encounter. A camper in the forest heard strange noises at night and decided to investigate with a torch and a camera. His shaky footage showed his fear as he searched the woods. At first, nothing appeared, but just as he convinced himself it was his imagination, he spotted pale humanoid figures crawling on the ground. Before he could focus, the clip ended abruptly. The man was never seen after that night, and just his camera and torch were found by the cops. Viewers believe the figures matched the description of rakes, while some of them even called them skinwalkers.
Yeah, gua dengar suara.
Abandoned place. In New Jersey, 2 architects explored an abandoned underground funeral home. The place had been forgotten for decades, filled with broken caskets and dust. As they filmed through a hole in the wall, something chilling happened. From inside a cracked coffin, a pale hand appeared for a brief moment, then vanished. It could have been an illusion caused by light and shadows. But the men believe the coffin still holds restless energy, trapped and reaching out. The footage left people debating online. Was it a trick of the eye, or proof that not all the deceased are at rest? Unknown shadow. In Nashua, New Hampshire, the Gallison Cemetery has long been known for its dark reputation. One day, Google Street View cameras captured something unusual, a shadowy figure hidden in the bushes. The image wasn't clear, but many who saw it swore it wasn't normal. Skeptics dismissed it as a glitch or trick of light, and the image quality added weight to it, but believers saw it differently. The cemetery already had stories of ghostly figures and paranormal sightings. To them, this was more proof that technology had coincidentally caught what the human eye often misses, something lurking in the graveyard, hidden in plain sight. Screaming grave. The man was visiting a columbarium wall in Pennsylvania when he heard something strange, knocking from inside one of the graves. At first, he thought it was his imagination, but when he leaned closer, a scream could be heard from within. Startled, he stepped back, shaking as the video cut off. It might be the sound of trapped spirits unable to move on, or maybe the old wall was carrying the energies of the past. Whatever it was, the video gave the chilling impression that the resting were not entirely silent. Open discussion. Today's open discussion is about this chilling clip caught in a funeral home. It showed a man preparing the suspect for his funeral while recording, as the grieving family had requested. But midway through the preparations, the deceased man's arm suddenly moved, as if touching the man. Terrified, he stepped back, only to see the arm rise again. He picked up the camera and fled the room. Experts called it the body's final muscle spasms, while viewers believed that the man came back to life. What do you guys believe about it? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you very much for watching the video. Do like it and share it with your friends. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell icon to not miss any of the upcoming amazing videos. Thank you once again.